Morning, everyone. My name is MightyStream. I'm going to do the June 1st spiritual principle a day in a meditation. I hope you're doing well this morning. Excuse my voice, it's deeper than normal. I'm a bit unwell. However, I feel great in my spirit, so don't worry about that. The title of the meditation, Consistency and Step 10. This is going to be good. In the 10th step, we use all the principles and actions we learned in the previous steps, applying them to our lives on a consistent basis. Now, that comes from at work, step 10. Left unexamined, anger, fear, shame, and resentment can bring out the worst in us. Character defects we once honed in to survival skills stand ready to help. It's no surprise they spring to mind first when we're faced with a challenge. We've relied on manipulation, self-pity, intolerance, dishonesty, perfectionism, arrogance, and the rest of our defects for as long as we can remember. But now that we're in recovery, it seems increasingly clear they're not such a good fit in our new lives. The lessons of steps 4 through 9 help us to see those crusty old tools in a new light. We've become deeply familiar with the damage we've caused in the past, have surrendered aspects of our character that shaped hurtful words and actions, and have humbly gone about owning our messes and cleaning them up. Understanding how we operated in the past sets us up for a better way, but it will take consistent effort for our new ways to become second nature. Step 10 gets us in the habit of reviewing our lives through the lens of the steps. Consistent practice helps us integrate their principles into our lives. Here's one member's experience with doing just that. My regular inventories read like letters to my higher power. They began with, Dear HP, my reminder that I'm not alone in this process. Then I jot down the fears and resentments that are popping up, the defects that are calling me, and the spiritual principles I need to keep handy instead. I end with, I'm ready for you to remove my shortcomings and clear the way for my loving service. There are many ways to practice step 10, of course. How we go about it is far less important than the fact that we do. Reflecting on our progress helps us integrate the principles into our lives and live consistently by our values. Does my habit of self-reflection encourage consistency between my beliefs and behavior? How can I integrate the steps and their principles into my practice of step 10? Let's take a moment of silence followed by we version of serenity prayer. Moment of silence now, please. Thank you. God, grant us the serenity to accept the things that we cannot change, the courage to change the things that we can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Consistency in step 10. Now, this is what I think about this, right? This meditation is beautiful. Uh, it, it tends to project a little bit, right? And basically what I mean is that it's saying that all of the previous steps help us, if we apply the principles, to be able to work this step 10. But the step 10, the benefit of it is if you're consistent, meaning that you're doing it over and over and over. And the fruit of that is very similar to step 12. Very, very similar in as much that it's asking you, Really, every step is similar, right? But it's asking you to take the spiritual principles and apply them in your life, in your day-to-day living, and then let's just say it, all of your affairs, so that you can benefit and have the support or the foundational, um, I want to say affirmation, but just to have that foundation, right, of all of those spiritual principles supporting this work of the step 10, excuse me, supporting that work. And in order to support it, it has to have substance, right? Those spiritual principles don't just come about by osmosis. You have to do the work. When we say you have to do the work, we're not talking about going outside and digging a ditch and planting a tree or a fence. When I say let's roll up our sleeves and get to work or let's get busy, I'm not talking about going out mowing the lawn, right? I'm not talking about tearing out your utility cabinet and closet and redoing it, reorganize. I'm not talking about that. Metaphorically, I'm talking about that. But I'm talking about going to meetings, paying attention to other people's share. Find that one person that you feel like you want what they have, that seems relatively happy, that you can tell that they have a working knowledge of the steps and the traditions and even 12 concepts, right? You see that they have a working knowledge of the 12 steps, and you ask them to sponsor you. Now, I know we project and we want the perfect sponsor, but a lot of times you're not going to get the perfect sponsor. You're going to get a person that has issues and have said yes to you, knowing that they're having issues. That's not bad. That's not a bad thing. So you found a sponsor that's going through a divorce. Okay, so you found a sponsor and you found out that they um are having some other issues, and you're thinking to yourself, oh, they should be much further than this. Maybe they're not going to be able to help me. Maybe they won't be able to, but also maybe they will be able to. So when I'm talking about doing the work, I'm talking about rolling your sleeves up and getting in there and finding who your sponsor is and then staying in touch with them and then doing the step work with them so that you can pull out, glean the spiritual principles that you actually need to apply to your life. We all had things that we did that we thought were survival skills. And we find out when we get here that manipulation, that self-pity, intolerance, dishonesty, perfectionism, right? We would think that would be good. Arrogance, right? That we called confidence. We find out it doesn't fit into our new and improved version. It doesn't fit. Those things don't fit into our more would be revealed individual. They just don't. But there is one thing that we can take from them. There is one way to flip them into integral type things, worthy type virtues, right? There is one way to do it. And that is by working the steps, getting to the fourth step, it's sorting out your assets and your liabilities, sorting out what you need and what you need to get rid of, right? And then going on to discuss that with a sponsor in your fifth step. And then from the work that you do with your sponsor in the fifth step, you're going to come away with hopefully a list of those character defects that have caused you trouble, right? And you will become entirely ready to have them removed from you. And then move on to the step 7, right? To humbly ask God to remove them. This addict here is sharing with them how they do the 10th step. And the way that they do the 10th step is they write a letter. They always start out, Dear HP. And then they talk about the character defects and fears that are coming up in the day. They talk about how they want them resolved, and they ask for help to have them removed. And from that, they also are pulling out the things within the course of the day that they need to revisit and clean up their side of the street, just their side of the street. Girl, you know what? I was doing my 10th step last night and I kept going over that conversation and I was getting more and more upset the more I thought about it. And I was like, what was wrong with that conversation that I am so deeply bothered by it? Girl, you know when I said, child, you crazy, you need to talk, you need a therapist. You know when I said that? That was so condescending. That was so rude of me. And I just want to let you know that I'm mindful of the fact that I said it, and I hope that you can forgive me. I'm a work on not saying everything that I think sometimes and understanding why I'm thinking the way that I am before I open my mouth. I am so sorry. Can you forgive me? And she'll probably say, girl, please. I didn't even think about that. You always say that. What? I always say that? Yeah, you always say that to me. You've been saying that to me since we've been friends. You've always told me that I should get a counselor, go talk to someone. I know that I dump on you a lot. I'm sorry about that. And what you find out is that you start having this engagement, this interaction, this dialogue, just in trying to do step 10. And when you get done making prompt amends, right? You walk away feeling lighter, more integral. You feel better about yourself. Your self-esteem gets a boost in the right direction. Consistency in step 10. I could talk about this one all day long because it really is part of my life and I enjoy it. And I want for you to enjoy it every day. I double dog dare you every day. Go buy you a new cheap notebook, a one subject notebook and write on there step 10 in dark marker on the front. And I double dog dare you to start trying to be consistent about reflecting on your day. I think it'll help you. I really do. Listen, guys, I want to get going studying on uh criminology. I want to get into my studies for this PhD. So I hope that you will have a beautiful day on purpose. I intend to, and welcome to the month of June. Talk to you tomorrow.